Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of The Geek and the Freak, which is a podcast, which is myself, Emily, and my good friend Gray. Hello, Gray.
Hi, Emily. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. This is indeed a podcast. I love that intro. I mean, you've gone in a new direction with that.
I got completely flunked for words, and I was thinking, is this a podcast? Do I say it's an episode?
It's an episode of a podcast. That's true. All of those are facts.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Geek and the Freak podcast. There we go.
Perfect. How are you, my friend? How are you?
I'm very, very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, it's warm tonight, isn't it? I'm quite hot.
Yeah, it's a weird kind of. It's really weird. It's verging on the old muggy side of things, but sometimes the air temperature is still a bit too cool. I got caught out at the weekend and I was freezing.
Yeah, it does get cold in the evenings.
Yeah, I had bare legs and I was a bit too chilly.
Oh no, bare legs. Where were you with the legs out?
Went into town and met a couple of people for drinks, and it was lovely when I was there. I went to before that I went to go and see my friend in a little comedy show, which was great, really, really good fun. And then met a couple of people afterwards for a couple of drinks.
So many friends, Emily. It's just too many of them.
But you mentioned 3.
I know, but I guarantee these are ones that haven't come up before.
No, they're not. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's what I meant.
And in the sun, I had a little summer dress on. It was lovely, and in the sun, it was fine. Then all of a sudden, when you're in the shade, and it was a little bit too windy, and yeah, I was very cold, and I just had like a jacket. I didn't have like a coat or anything. I just had like a little zip up. Yeah, did the same thing on Sunday. Wore a lovely summer dress, little cardi, and got caught out again. Cold again.
So you made the same mistake again?
But it was sunnier on Sunday.
Oh, okay. It's a trick though, isn't it?
I know. Honestly, it's because the air temperature hasn't quite warmed up enough.
No, it's weird.
If you're in the shade or it's a bit too windy, it's a bit too chilly.
It's like they always say it's like what it must be like in the desert, isn't it? Like really cold at night but really warm in the day. It's that kind of thing that's going on. It's odd.
Yeah, it is very odd. But it's quite stuffy at night as well. I've had to sleep with the window open.
Oh, I haven't done that yet. I haven't had to leave it. No.
Oh.
I don't really like doing it anyway.
Well, in case you get burgled. Someone comes and kidnaps you in the night.
Maybe.
Do you get scared of the monsters coming in the window?
I get scared of the mosquitoes coming in through the window. I've got like a net thing to stop that from happening.
A net curtain?
No, it's a proper like magnetic net.
Oh.
Like a net curtain. Jesus Christ. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in 1975 this week.
But then I imagined you in one of those, you can get those mosquito nets that covers the whole of you, like a little
bed
mosquito net pod thing. I then imagined you in one of those.
Yeah, I've not got one of those.
And I see you've had a little haircut.
I have had a little haircut. Yeah, this is.
It looks really good.
Yeah, it looks all right. It's kind of part 1, I think. There's going to be a part 2 to the haircut.
Are you? Well, do you want to give away part 1, or not really?
Well, this is part 1. No, that'll become apparent to anybody that watches a later version of the podcast on video. I don't know exactly what point, but yeah, I'm going to do something else, I think.
It suits you shorter. I really like it.
Yeah, I like it, and I'm kind of an age now where it needs to be shorter, because the longer it is, the more pronounced the bald spot gets, I think.
Unless you're Bill Bailey, who's the only person who can get away with it.
Yes, I'm not. Sadly, I'm not.
You're not Bill Bailey.
I'm not Bill Bailey. No. I don't like having my hair cut, which is why it always ends up getting long, I think. I just don't enjoy I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy the forced small talk with people I had no interest in. Sorry, hairdressers.
It's really funny. There's so many guys I know who hate having their hair cut because they hate the small talk, you know, they just hate going to the barbers. I think for girls, women, it is such a treat and it is such a pampering thing. And oh, I'm going to get my hair done. You know, it's a totally different thing for men as it
Yeah,
is for
it is
women.
weird. And I mean, the hairdresser that I go to, they're both perfectly nice people. There's nothing, I don't not like them
No,
at
no, no,
all.
of course.
I've always really struggled with that kind of
Mm.
forced, forced conversation. It's not really my bag.
Would you see, it's funny because, okay, I'm going to chop and change here a bit. Have you ever had a massage?
No.
Okay, because they say in a massage, do you want to talk or do you want to just relax and enjoy? A lot of the times when you have treatments, that's what they say. So if you could go in and say to your barber, is it okay if we don't talk? Because okay, let's say there was no talking involved and you could just say to the guy, hi, I'd like this, please, or the same as I always have. He said, okay, sir, that's fine. Or okay, Gray, that's fine, whatever they call you. Would you ever have one of those hot towel?
What, like a proper barber would do?
Yeah, like a Turkish barber shave.
Don't know whether I would, to be honest. That feels a bit hot chip dad to me.
Oh, poor hot chip dads.
Yeah, it does though, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
I know, but it's so different for women. So the moment they say, "Oh, do you want conditioner?" Obviously, you always say yes, and they say, "Oh, do you want a head massage?" Oh my god, I would pay somebody, hundreds of pounds to just like wash my hair and massage. Having your scalp massaged is one of the most incredible things ever.
I
So
mean,
lovely.
I don't know whether I've ever told you this, but when I was in Australia in the beginning of the
Mm.
90s, I briefly worked in a hairdresser's and was giving yeah, wait for it. I was giving
Oh
people
god,
I was giving people head massages.
really?
Yeah.
What, at the shampoo conditioner stage or just in general?
I think it
Like
was
with
do you know
oils
what? I
or
genuinely can't remember. I did wash people's hair. It was like I had like no idea what I was doing.
no, but like with anything though, you've got to start somewhere. But no, women love, and the majority of women, if you say to them, "Oh, do you want an extra long head massage with your conditioner?" They'd be like, "Yeah, it's the most wonderful thing in the world."
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't want one. I mean, I don't get my hair washed when I go to the hairdressers. It's just cut
Or
and
just have a wet cut, yeah.
just cut. Yeah.
Just the old spray, and that's
Bit of
it.
spray. They clippered it this time, which is why it's looking a bit tidier. I don't know whether this is true for women, but for
Mm.
men, like I've got like a couple of rogue eyebrow hairs that occasionally have to be have to be trimmed, and trying to
Yeah.
do that in a mirror with a tiny with like a pair of nail scissors. Oh my god, it's
Mhm.
so hard. It's so difficult to get them.
So
I'm
do
constantly
you
going like this. I've missed it again. I've missed it.
like me with my
Yes.
little mohawk?
Yes, with your
Yeah,
mohawk. Yeah.
which is growing back nicely, by the way.
Is it?
So when you do your eyebrows, do you like go slightly to the side and comb and then snip?
Oh no, I haven't thought about doing that. I suppose that's why I should do it.
Well, yeah, because then you can't go too far because the comb is like the guard for your scissors.
I guess so. I mean, I'm not really worried about going too far. It's just one hair that I'm trying to it
Or pluck it
literally
out.
oh no, that sounds bad. I just want to cut it.
You can. I want to see it when it goes wrong one day, and you've got like a little thing out of your eyebrow, like you're out of B17 or something.
Do you know what? That I mean, a long time. This is a long time ago. I can remember. It must have been when I was really young and using an electric razor, and I just kind of
Mm.
absent-mindedly just like shaved a bit of my eyebrow off. Just
Oh my god.
yeah, I was a strange kid.
Strange adult too.
That is true. That is true. There's no argument about that.
I'd rather be strange than normal. I really would. Normal
Same,
is a
same.
little bit dull for me.
Yes, agreed. Same. I did get a new phone, which turned into a bit more than just a new phone.
A plethora of products.
Yeah. So I noticed as I was doing the editing on the previous week's podcast that my iPhone had a big crack down the screen, and it was long overdue an upgrade. I got it during pandemic, I think. So it's about
Oh
5 years
God,
old.
5 years ago.
Yeah, and I hadn't really clocked quite how much I was paying either. You kind of sometimes you get a bit relaxed about that kind of thing, and the what I was paying had crept up,
Yep.
and I hadn't really clocked that. So when I went into the shop, the guy was like, this was EE, by the way. The guy was like, "You're paying quite a bit." He was like, "Oh, I can probably get you an iPhone 13, and you can pay significantly less." And I pulled a bit of a face, and he was like, "What's that face for?" I was like, "I don't want an iPhone 13. I want a 16. I want the latest." And he was like, "Oh, I just thought because you'd not upgraded for 5 years, you wouldn't care about that." I was like, "Oh no." I was like, "I'm a massive nerd, mate. I want the latest one."
Get the Nokia 3310 out for this chap here.
So he said, "Okay, let me go have a look at what sort of deal I can do you." And he was gone for literally like 20 minutes. Like 2 of the guys in the shop came up to him and went, "Are you being served, mate?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am being served."
Your mate's just done a runner out the back.
Yeah.
I'm such a geek. He doesn't want to know.
So he came back after about 20 minutes with this pile of boxes and just said, "If you're happy to keep paying a little bit less than you're paying now, but kind of the same amount, I can give you an iPhone 16 Pro." So the kind of top notch.
The one you wanted, yeah.
Yeah, but the Pro version, which has got like an extra camera lens, I think, and it's a bit faster. I can give you an Apple Watch and an iPad.
Bloody hell.
So I was like, "Yeah, I think I might do that, mate." So I already had. So now so I didn't really need either of them, if I'm honest. But I now have a new Apple Watch which has got a white strap, so I am hot chip dad on my Apple Watch.
Just need your white Birkenstocks and you're off, right?
Yeah,
okay.
That's all that's required. And I've got a brand new iPad as well. So yeah, and the phone. The thing I've been most impressed with the phone actually is the camera is incredible. All I've been doing is taking pictures of the cats constantly. I'll stick one up on the YouTube video.
The footage of us the other weekend, that was taken with that, wasn't it?
The bit of you pulling a face where I panned around, yes, that's on TikTok and Insta. That was done with the phone. Yeah. But yes, that was my little trip to the shops.
Pretty good little bundle you came away with. But I've had to think about this. So, when you renew your contract and you get a new phone and they go, "Oh, okay, it's going to be," I'm just going to make round figures here because it's easier. "It's going to be £50 a month for 2 years or for a year and a half until you've paid off the phone." And then it drops back down to £25 a month because that's just,
Yeah.
In theory, they've been overcharging you for the last 3 years.
But it's my fault.
No, because they didn't drop after you'd paid off your original phone, they didn't drop the price
But that
back
wasn't
down.
the contract. That wasn't the contract. So the new contract is that. So the new contract is, they call it a flexi contract. So now when the phone is paid off, the price will drop on this one.
Right, okay. Those are the ones that I've always had, yeah.
Yeah, this was not that. I had a different. I think my deal was, and this is my fault again because I didn't remember doing it, but it was something like you keep paying that amount, but you can upgrade after 18 months. And obviously I just, well, yeah.
But again, why didn't they contact you? Why didn't they flag you up in their system and go, "Oh, this guy's finished paying this. Let's get him back in again"?
I was getting text messages saying you're due an upgrade. I mean,
oh
yeah, it's my fault. I'm not going to slag off EE because it wasn't them.
No, but in theory, it'd be nice if they'd have said, because you've been paying over the odds for the last additional 3 years, here's a free iPad, because in theory, you've paid for it.
Yeah, and it's not a free iPad, but I didn't have to pay anything up front, which normally that deal would have been £300 up front to make that happen.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I got.
God, no, completely. Just got to change that strap. This week's sponsor, we're going back to another one of our original sponsors, and this is Gale's Nails, which is on Chapel Street, just off the High Street. And if you remember rightly, Gale's Nails is also a beauty salon. So they not only do manicures, pedicures, facials, gel nails, acrylics, eyebrow tints, all that kind of thing, waxing. Oh, yes, because you were going to go and get your back sack and crack and you never went to get it done.
I was never going to do that.
So if you pop into the shop and see Gail or one of the girls and mention the podcast, you will get a free teabag facial. Now, a teabag facial soothes and reduces puffiness and dark circles around the eyes.
Does it indeed? Does
It
it?
does, yeah. And you could either have the teabag cold or you can have it like room temperature.
Nice.
Yeah. I thought that was really good.
Really good. Yeah. Really, really great.
Yeah. Especially after the Isle of Wight festival, you might be needing one of those.
Well, and might be needing some teabagging.
Yeah, teabag facial.
Teabag facial. What was last week's sponsor, Emily? Remind me.
Last week's sponsor was Brenda's Deli. She was back with her tongue sandwich.
Oh yes. Did she have many customers pop in for?
She had
some
quite
tongue?
a fair few. Yeah, she had quite a few. Dennis popped in from Vision Vault and he got a tongue sandwich from Brenda. Yeah, she said it went down an absolute storm.
I mean, lovely.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, thank you very much to Gale's Nails.
Thank you for this week's sponsor, Emily.
You're welcome. Welcome back, everybody. There's something I needed to talk about.
Oh.
Yeah. So I got something wrong in my Desert Island Discs.
Oh.
The story that I told about my dad being in that pub and seeing the Who, it wasn't the Who. So he was in a pub, that bit was right.
Yeah.
And there was all this racket coming from the stage, and it wasn't the Who, it was the Rolling Stones, which I thought was actually quite even cooler.
Oh my God.
I know.
That is cooler.
It is. And everyone just turned a blind eye because they were like, oh, it's another band that's playing on Saturday night. No one really gave a hoot. And then he said about 3 or 4 months later, a friend of his turned around and said, oh, we're going to Eel Pie Island on Saturday night because there's a band playing. Now, I thought for a minute, I was like, this is made up. It's not. So Eel Pie Island is a small, mysterious landmass nestled in the Thames near Twickenham. It is a place where history and creativity intersect. Known for its bohemian spirit, this private island has a storied past dating back to the 18th century, but it truly gained fame in the 1960s as a legendary music venue. So, when my dad's friend said, we're going to go and see this band on Eel Pie Island, my dad said, oh, great, okay. Obviously, word had got out that this band had, with a new, the latest thing.
Yeah.
So 10,000 people stormed this island, and it was the Rolling Stones, and it was when they got famous 3-4 months down the line after my dad had seen them in that pub. Yeah, it was really interesting. Really interesting.
I've never heard about Ireland, but I know there's one of the routes into London that takes you kind of into Kingston. You drive along the Thames and you see there are islands where people live.
There are islands, yeah. Well, this is near Twickenham, and it's only 8.9 acres big. Why is Eel Pie Island famous? It was once a bubbling cauldron of British rock and roll. There was a 5-month period in 1963 where you could see the Rolling Stones play there every Wednesday. The Who, Pink Floyd, and Screaming Lord Sutch all did gigs at Eel Pie Island, a rickety 19th century ballroom that was lost to a fire in 1971.
Oh, that's why there's no gigs there anymore.
Oh, how funny. And that's where my dad was there. So yes, that was my addition that I got slightly wrong on Desert Island
Discs.
So
not the Who, it was the Rolling Stones.
Who. It was better. It was the Stones.
Although I've seen them both live, and the Who were better than the Stones when I saw them.
It's so difficult, isn't it? Because they're two British greats, and seeing them now, of course, is going to be incredibly different to seeing them back in the 60s, 70s, even the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
when they were, well, they would have been at their peak 20, 30 years ago. Um, so they would have been different to how if you were going to see them play today, because
The
energy
Who,
levels are
we
different,
talked about,
voices are different.
was it DJ Shadow we talked about last week who didn't play the hits when you saw him?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Who play the hits. The Stones played some of the hits and also played some terrible stuff off their most recent album. That's
Oh,
why.
okay. Oh no.
Yeah, both of them at Isle of Wight Festival.
I think as well though, the Stones are a bit more rebellious, so that's probably why I'd sway towards them. The Who is more sort of like mod era,
The Stones are
but
really,
then
I mean, the
yeah.
Stones are interesting. I mean, both bands have an interesting history, don't
Mm,
they?
I mean, it would have been great to have seen them back in the 60s. That would have been
Oh, God,
incredible.
yeah. My mum saw the Stones on the Isle of Wight. Like,
Okay.
yeah, they came over and played the Isle of Wight. The Beatles never did, I don't think, but she did see the Stones, which she's proud of.
Oh wow.
So I did have
Oh.
one thing to talk about this week.
Go for it.
But you're going to hate this, but, well, maybe not hate it.
Oh no, I know what it is because you told me before we started, and I was like, meh.
Yeah. What was my post on Facebook that you referenced?
I've been fighting this fight since I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
And was that Anakin or was that
No, it was Andor.
Andor? Who the f***'s Andor?
So did you watch Rogue One when it came out?
No, no.
Okay, so Rogue One was the Star Wars movie, second one I think that Disney made, came out, I think it was about 2016, it's about 9 years ago. And it was a
Mhm.
prequel to Star Wars, like literally the hours before Star Wars, the first Star Wars
Mhm.
movie back in the
Okay.
70s.
Okay. Yeah.
And one of the characters in that is called Cassian Andor. And I'm going to have to think about how I talk about this without spoiling it for people. But essentially, the TV show is the prequel to that movie. So it's
Oh God.
how I know.
Don't you think it's gonna get to a stage where it's like, how many prequels are we gonna have? Don't
Yeah,
need
maybe.
that
Yeah.
many.
That's true. But he was a really good character. So he was great in Rogue One. Rogue One's probably the
Mhm.
best of those Star Wars movies that we've had so far. Of the 5 we've had, it's probably the best one.
Okay.
He was a really cool character. And this is his journey from being like someone who's just a bit of an outsider to how he becomes a rebel.
To a Jedi.
He doesn't become a Jedi. He just becomes a rebel.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. He just becomes a rebel. And it honestly, so there are a few TV shows where there are episodes that have made me like, I don't know, become a gibbering wreck. And the last episode of Andor, honestly, I've not been able to stop thinking about it. And so like
Mhm.
almost like a week on, and B, I was just sobbing for
Oh
like
wow.
the last like 20 minutes of it. It was the whole season 2. So it's done now. There'll be no more because
Mhm.
the next bit of the story is that movie.
Right.
Was so good. It was so good. Just the best bit of Star Wars we've had since Star Wars. Like,
Mm.
and there's
Mm.
been so many TV shows, and some of them have been better than others. There's been like The
Yeah.
Mandalorian's been good because we got Baby Yoda. But yeah, genuinely, it was just like an amazing bit of television.
But that's why I love it when you see a film and when you said you're still thinking about it now, a week down the line, that to me is an incredible movie. If it makes your emotions run that high, and if you're still thinking about it and still sort of dissecting it and processing it, and oh, what was that bit there? Do I need to go and watch it again? I mean, you probably will watch it again. But I love it when a movie or a show has that kind of effect on you.
Yeah, I'll
That
definitely watch it again. I
mm,
watched Rogue One on Saturday night because I was like,
mm,
oh, I feel like I want the punctuate. I want the full stop. Like, I want the how does this
sure.
actually finish? Because the last episode was emotional because of all the other characters that we got to
Mm,
know that weren't in the movie. The Cassian
okay.
story continues in Rogue One, so I needed that, and it's completely changed the movie, the
Oh
TV show,
wow. Because you like
because
you'll also pick up on loads of bits of, oh, that's why that happened. That references back to that. That all knots in, ties in with that or whatever.
yeah, and it's
Oh
made the
wow.
movie, it's made it his film now. Whereas
Mhm. Mhm.
before, he wasn't really the main character. But now
Okay.
it's made, because now it's the full stop on his story. He's the main character of the movie. It's really weird.
You see, I still just prefer the original three.
I mean, I do. I mean, we'll talk about like my love of
Yeah.
Star Wars when we talk about like my movies, I guess.
I'd like to see The Mandalorian because I know that I'd enjoy them, but like I said a second ago, sometimes I think, oh, there's a prequel and a prequel to that prequel, and it's just kind of like at some point it's like, okay, stop. It's going to, because it'll get to this stage where it's too far fetched. And everyone just loses interest.
Which is what's happened with the Marvel stuff, with the superhero stuff.
Yeah,
Too much of it. Yeah.
There we go.
Way too much of it. And actually, the Disney Plus TV shows for Star Wars have been a mixed bag. But Andor was genuinely like grown-up Star Wars. It was properly visceral. It was really violent at times. It was frightening. It was, there was just,
it wasn't just for kids.
It definitely isn't for kids. Like I would say it isn't for kids. Like it probably would have an age rating of it of at least 15, I would imagine, because of some of the content and themes.
But the original 3 Star Wars, you can, show them to a 7-year-old and you can show them to a 70-year-old.
Yeah. But it's okay to have Star Wars content that isn't that.
Of course.
Yeah. And
totally,
and honestly, Andor was amazing. It was just, it's a really great TV show. I really loved it. Do you want to tell people where they can find us?
Yeah, sure. If you'd like to email us, you can get us at the Geek and the Freak pod@gmail.com, and I will be there to answer your questions, to read them out on the show.
Awesome.
Look forward to hearing from you.
We love getting an email, don't we?
We do.
And you can find us on Instagram, which is the Geek and the Freak pod, same as the email. And you can find us on TikTok as the Geek and the Freak.
Thank you very much, everybody. We hope you've enjoyed the show, and we'll speak to you next week.
We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.
What do you call a hen that can count its own eggs?
I was trying to mix hen with calculator.
A mathma chicken.
Very good.
Thanks.
Why isn't there a pregnant Barbie doll?
I don't know, Emily. Why isn't there a pregnant Barbie doll?
Because Ken came in another box.
Oh, God. It's our jokes that are becoming the only reason I have to put explicit at the end of the podcast.